Have you ever felt your heart race before walking into a room full of people? Or replayed a conversation in your head for days, convinced you said something wrong? Between 40 and 50% of Americans deal with crippling shyness right now, and neuroscience shows it's not a personality flaw. Your brain has been treating normal social situations like physical threats since you were a baby, and scientists can prove it by looking at one tiny region that refuses to calm down. First, your amygdala won't stop screaming danger. This almond-shaped region deep in your brain handles fear and stress responses, and in shy people it lights up like a Christmas tree when you see unfamiliar faces. Brain scans show that adults who were shy as toddlers have amygdalas that go into overdrive around strangers, authority figures, or anyone new. The problem is your amygdala is supposed to calm down once it realizes there's no real threat, but shy brains experience something called habituation failure. Normal brains see a new face, get excited, then relax as the face becomes familiar. Your brain never gets that second part. It keeps treating your coworker you've seen every day for 3 years like a potential predator, filing them under threat and bringing up the fear response every single time. Second, this started before you could even talk. A psychologist named Jerome Kagan spent decades showing babies unfamiliar objects and watching what happened. 25% of infants completely lost their minds, screaming and flailing like they'd seen a demon. Another 25% just stared calmly. He called the panic babies high reactive and followed them for years. Those high-reactive infants grew up to be shy children, serious and quiet with their nervous systems firing constantly in new situations. Almost none of them became outgoing adults. The trait is at least partially genetic, shows up early in life, and runs in families. Between 15 and 20% of children are born behaviorally inhibited, which means some people were literally wired from birth to struggle with this. Third, schools and workplaces are designed by extroverts for extroverts. Open floor plans, mandatory group projects, performance reviews based on how much you talk in meetings. None of that measures competence. It measures how well your amygdala handles novelty. Class participation grades don't test knowledge. They test whether your sympathetic nervous system freaks out when the teacher calls on you. In Japan, 60% of people consider themselves shy because their culture values deference and respect. In the United States, it's 40 to 50%. And that number increased from 40 to 50% just during the 1990s before social media even existed. American culture started valuing performance and personal branding so intensely that every social interaction became an audition you could fail, and we're calling the people who can't perform on command broken, instead of admitting the system is hostile to half the population. Fourth, shy people create their own prison without realizing it. When you believe everyone is judging you poorly, you avoid new social opportunities, which means you never practice the social skills you need to stop being shy. Your fear prevents you from getting the exact experience that would cure your fear. Shy people make brutal social comparisons, putting themselves up against the most outgoing person in the room and deciding they're failing. The Stanford Shyness Clinic, which has studied this since 1975, found that shy people are stuck in excessive self-consciousness, constant negative thoughts, low self-esteem, and overwhelming fear of judgment. And that creates a cycle where believing you're bad at socializing makes you avoid socializing, which keeps you bad at it. Fifth, the people who overcome shyness aren't actually cured. Lucille Ball was told by drama school teachers that she was too shy and would never make it in show business. She became the queen of comedy and the first female head of a major Hollywood studio, but she didn't stop being shy. David Bowie had such unbearable shyness that he created Ziggy Stardust specifically to hide behind, and he admitted it was easier to be Ziggy off stage than to be himself. Adele still throws up before shows and has escaped through fire exits from stage fright. Johnny Carson and David Letterman appeared before millions looking completely confident while being painfully shy in real life. None of these people fixed their amygdalas. They built systems and strategies to function while their paranoid bodyguard brains screamed danger in the background. The goal isn't to become extroverted. That's neurologically impossible for most shy people. So what actually works, cognitive behavioral therapy, is the only approach with decades of research proving it helps. One study of 231 patients showed massive symptom reduction, and a meta-analysis found that CBT crushed social anxiety, depression, and general anxiety while improving quality of life. The wild part is what happened after treatment ended. 12 months later, people continued improving even without therapy. The gains were permanent and building on themselves. CBT has two parts that work together. Exposure therapy forces you to confront situations you fear, starting small and working up to harder ones. The cognitive part teaches you to examine whether people are really judging you as harshly as you think. Spoiler alert, they're not. Most people are too worried about themselves to notice your awkward pause. A psychologist named Lynn Henderson ran the Palo Alto Shyness Clinic for 25 years and created social fitness training based on one simple idea. Just like you work out to stay physically fit, you stay socially fit by joining groups, meeting new people, and developing relationships. Social fitness is a skill you can train at any age. Here's my challenge, and I'm calling it the 333 Amygdala Reset. Pick one social situation that scares you. Something small like asking a barista a question, making eye contact with 3 strangers, or starting a conversation at work. Do it 3 times in 3 days. Not once, 3 times. Your amygdala needs repetition to learn the threat isn't real. Once doesn't prove anything to your brain. 3 times starts building new neural pathways. Film yourself if you want or do it privately. But the point is repetition with evidence. Between 40 and 50% of American adults are dealing with shyness right now. You're not broken. You're not defective. You're in massive company. Your brain has been running a protection program that's outdated and causing more harm than good. The question isn't whether you can manage this, because research proves you can. The question is whether you're willing to feel uncomfortable 3 times over 3 days to start rewiring your paranoid bodyguard of an amygdala. If Lucille Ball can go from too shy for drama school to running a Hollywood studio while still being fundamentally shy, you can handle asking 3 questions this week. If this helped you understand what's actually happening in your brain, subscribe for more psychology breakdowns that explain why your mind works the way it does.